You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you.
We're living in a very dangerous time right now, and liberalism has lost their cotton-picking mind.
The Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods.
Nobody ever said anything about resisting Obama. They went at him on legitimate arguments.
I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Roundtable, your all-access pass to exposing fake news, the resistance, and the global elite's shadow government undermining American progress. Be a part of the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your all-American hosts, Del Marsh and Phil Stargell.
And good morning. The Abolitionist Roundtable in Michigan is on the air. I am your host for the day, and my name is Phil Stargell. I'm going to cover and ride the early morning run this morning with myself. Dell is, as we all know, doing a brave battle with a serious disease called cancer, and he will be back in his seat to my left. Or right, depending on which side of the table I'm sitting at. But he will be back shortly, and we will continue to bring you the latest and some of and put some perspective into what we see as of last week. Changed everything. I mean, there was going to be a discussion on something a little different this morning, but first of all, we have to give some attention to this particular problem, because as you saw, the Democrat Party was, just loaded for bear as soon as this incident happened down in Park Lane, Florida. And the Parkside, Florida, is it? But the thing about it is, you notice that all of the old rhetoric comes right back to the forefront. You know, how long, how many people have to die, but they did put a little twist to it with the where you can keep your prayers and your thoughts. They're not doing. We want action. We want, and what action do they want? They want to take your right and my right to be able to defend ourselves from such an incident, should that ever occur. And don't make no mistake. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. The goal of the Democrat Party is to confiscate and just destroy every weapon in the country. But they want to tell you that that regardless of whatever happens, that to take away your right to defend yourself, and that is in the Constitution, by the way. It's not like these rights that have been thought up out of somebody's brain that might be smoking some of the stuff that they're determined to legalize and put the whole country under the haze of marijuana smoke. I mean, these people are they just create one problem after another, but they tell you that that's going to solve another problem. People, you better wake up, because the Democrat Party is carrying this country straight into oblivion. But what I wanted to make sure that we understand, the purpose of the Democrat Party right now with this shooting down in Florida is to pave way to confiscate your and my right to possess the only thing that's going to defend this country and us from tyranny, from just flat out fascism or communism, because that's where all of the indications are that that they want to go. I mean, the Bernie Sanders phenomenon is not because he's a libertarian. It's not because he's a conservative. It's because he's a socialist communist, and and he's not a very good representative of it. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are much slicker with this communism nonsense than Bernie Sanders, but the young people of this country are willing to go for that nonsense because of the fact that they have made people afraid to identify what the problem is. And that's what it is about this shooting. The problem is not the fact that this guy had access to a gun and he had a little bit of a mental problem or whatever. The fact is that he did not have the personal respect for others. He only wanted to assume some point of notoriety, and it didn't matter how he got it. And that's a bankrupt moral code within him. And it's because we have put so much effort into indoctrinating our children into these schools, and then we give them this nonsense for 12 years or so. And what do we expect? We get garbage in, we get garbage out, and that's what this young man is. He's bankrupt morally, and it's because of the country is going bankrupt on morals. Anytime you have people tell you that they care about life and life matters and things like that, and yet and still we go out and murder innocent babies in the womb, and they tell you that that's a right. They tell you that that because some bankrupt, hopeless person that they indoctrinated into that bankruptcy is not, he's a victim of some inanimate object, a gun. He's actually, they're trying to make him the victim. If you notice what the lawyers were talking about, they call him a child. His brain isn't mature enough, but yet and still they'll fight you to your death to see to it that he can get all of the marijuana he can smoke. So these people they turn our children into zombies, and then they turn around and blame an inanimate object and the people that defend their right to have access to the protection that it provides. That's what the bankruptcy is about, because they're telling you that inanimate object is the problem. It's not the problem. It's the solution to the problem. The first thing that we should be doing is making sure that as those kids walk into those classes in the morning, that whatever is out there that is out to cause them harm stays outside of that building. And what does it take? Let's look at, people always say money is the root of all evil. But if you go to any bank, any place where they hold gold, any place they hold anything, it's guarded by guns. And when was the last time you heard of anybody going into a bank and killing 12, 14, 15 people to get access to the money that's in there? Doesn't happen. So why is it that that money is more important than our kids? There's nothing in the world that's more important to me than my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. And I think that it is, you see, they got these kids out there telling you that that they need to act, the Congress needs to act, the government needs to act. No, you need to act. You should insist that there should be no way that anybody can walk into that school that your children go to and kill 10, 15 people, and people turn around and blame the fact that is your right to be able to defend yourself. So the thing that you're protecting is not the right for people to have a gun. You are protecting, you should be using that instrument to protect your children. And you've allowed the government to tell you that you can herd your children into a building and put up a sign that says there are no guns in here, just come on in and start shooting. And that's basically what it is. So here we are, we got your most prized possession, your most important, the most important person to you in your life is your children. And you turn them over to some bankrupt idea politicians that politicians have of what it is that's most important to you, not to them, to you. Because if it was their children, I guarantee you, wouldn't nobody be able to walk into that building with a gun and shoot up the place. Because if you just notice, the politicians don't send their children to the place you send them to, but yet and still they want to tell you what is best and what is best and how best to protect them. You should be there telling them, no, we're not going to put no more of our children into these schools unless you can guarantee me that you would put your child into that school and feel safe that he was going to be able to come home that night. So let's stop the BS and stop letting these people run the agenda. We are working under the agenda of the Democrat Party. Their agenda is not to protect your children. Their agenda is to keep bringing about issues and keep them on the table and never solve the problem, but just use them to get votes so they can stay in power. That's their most important part of this agenda. Your agenda is to protect your children. And you should insist, again, you should insist that nobody makes a rule that allows your children to be put at risk, like putting up a sign saying, well, nobody can bring a gun in here. Well, look, what did they do to this guy? This guy was banned out of the school. So how did he get into school? This guy was banned from carrying a backpack into the school. Yet still, he had a backpack because how else would he get the gun into the school? A long gun. Now, only thing that we can talk about is, well, the AR-15 is a weapon of war. It shouldn't be in a school. Well, of course not. You got a sign up there saying it's a gun-free zone. It shouldn't be in there, but it's in there. Because you don't want your children to be in a building that the government says is unsafe. And what do they call it unsafe? Well, just in case one of the parents may have access to a gun or have a license to carry a gun, he can't bring that gun into the campus. But that's all well and good to you because you want a gun-free zone. You trust that politician more than you trust your own gut instinct and your own desire to protect your rights, because that is your right too, to be able to defend yourself. Yet and still, here we go with these rules set down by the people that you elect to send your children into the building that they write the rules for. And to me, until they can assure you as a parent that your child is going to come home every night, when you send them off in the morning, you should be demanding that you get that assurance and that you feel that. I mean, I quit my last child, my youngest child. I homeschooled her because of this kind of nonsense. And you have access to that same thing, but maybe your priorities aren't your child. Maybe your priorities are to make sure you got enough money in your 401k, and you leave those decisions to somebody else. But you know, I don't, you know, that's yours. But then don't turn around and try to take away my right to be able to defend myself in the way that I see fit, in the way that is constitutionally guaranteed to me. Because I can guarantee you, if they ever are able to come up with a ban on AR-15s, the next thing it'll be is, well, you know, this gun here, you can just put it in your pocket and hide it, and people don't know you have it, and all of that. So we better ban them. Matter of fact, we might as well get all of them while we're at it. And then we'll turn America into our version of Venezuela. So if anybody out there wants to join this conversation and tell me why they trust the government when the government it has shown you that they're incapable of protecting your children. The first thing I suggest is, and this is my suggestion, first thing I suggest is that that there be active duty military assigned to every school. Reason why I say that, because there is a little program in the military called civilian status where they can send you all anywhere in the world, and you don't have to wear a uniform. So let's devise a program. Since Democrats like programs so much, devise a program to assign 10 military capable people that have been in the military, and start a training program to train these people to patrol the halls of our schools on a daily basis from the United States Army. Well, you say, well, you know, we don't want the government to use armed force in our schools. Well, I would rather we use the government to do what it is to protect our children than to have the government come and confiscate my right to protect myself by taking away my firearm. Let's give the government the opportunity to do exactly what they're supposed to do, protect American lives. Because we don't know when somebody will get into one of these schools and be able to do what just happened. But I can guarantee you, if you have a program where the government provides the manpower, because they tell you right now that you have to open up your private facilities, your restrooms, your showering facilities, to let men and women in there. So is that the government dictating to you, to tell you that the most private part of your day, that they can control how you have to carry that privacy out? You know, these are the same people that said that it was a woman's right to privacy that allows her to murder her child in her womb. So let's be realistic here. What's the government for but to do what it is that they're supposed to do in protecting lives? So okay, let's get them to start a program where people that have the training and train every day or every minute of the day almost, and take some of that manpower and reroute that manpower and start a program for security in our schools and make our schools a fortress of learning instead of a off and on death sentence for our most prized possession, our most guarded, what should be our most guarded product of the American people, our children. And then we can talk about whether or not you should go somewhere and start talking about taking away my right to protect myself. And the reason why I say that it's a government's job to do it is because they can force all kind of anti-American nonsense on our children every day by telling them that it's their right to do this and it's their right to do that. Well, what is the government's right? The government has the right and the duty to protect our children. And so what we need to do is, before we start talking about taking away rights from the citizenry, let's take away the opportunity of the criminal element in our society. But I believe, in my mind, in my heart and soul, I believe that the Democrat Party will never allow this to happen because it would be effective. They don't want anything to be effective. They want an issue until they get what their agenda is. Their agenda is to confiscate guns and take all of the right to have and possess your self-defense. That's what their goal is. And again, I'm going to give you that number. That number is 734-822-1600 if you'd like to join the conversation. And I'm going to go to the phones, and we will see what this is. Mike from New York, military security for schools. I like that. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. Yes, first of all, I agree with what you're saying about the Democratic Party, what they've been trying to do, what they've been doing for the last 30 years to this country. Now, on one hand, we want the government to help protect us and with the military, and I'm a former military, so I agree with that. But here we have the FBI who were working against this government recently, and also who dropped the ball. They knew what was going on, and they didn't follow up on the leads they got. They should be, and I agree with the governor of Florida, that the director should resign for this. Just the fact that they had the knowledge of that someone that had his name and they couldn't follow up on that. They were doing all this, espionage on Donald Trump and the Republican Party.
Yeah.
I mean, that is inexcusable.
Yes, it is.
And the other thing, at the school, they supposedly had security at the school.
Yeah.
Where were they? Where were the cameras? Normally, most schools, you have one access point. How did this fellow, like you mentioned, how did he get in the school with a backpack and a gun? Yes,
exactly right. And you've got the order out that that's part of his punishment. He can't come into the building with a backpack, and he's not even supposed to be in the building. But let me ask you real quick: are you familiar with Fast and Furious?
With the former Attorney General, vaguely with the guns.
Yeah.
I followed it vaguely.
Another Justice Department debacle. What they wanted to do was to put a lot of guns into the hands of criminals, knowingly put them into the hands of criminals.
And they did.
Yes, they did. And what they wanted was the bad publicity of what would happen with those guns.
Exactly.
Now, that tells me right there that the intelligence agencies and I'm going to hold you through because I want to get your answer. What do you think about that? We will be back after these messages. Again, that number, if you'd like to join the conversation, 734-822-1600, and we'll be back after these messages.
From the hilltops of New Hampshire, let freedom ring. From the mighty mountains of New York, let freedom ring from the heights of Allegheny.
You're You're listening to the Abolitionists Roundtable with your hosts, Del and Phil. They're exposing the left's underground resistance while leading the charge in the fight for liberty. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is Logically Speaking Uncensored. Is the United States a nation of laws or a nation of outlaws? The United States Constitution enshrined into words the laws of governance, which fostered the belief that it was a nation of laws where no one, regardless of status, influence, politics, wealth, or elitism, was exempted above the law. Confidence in the impartiality of constitutional laws formed the exceptionalism which made the United States unique. But unrelenting assaults upon the Constitution by anti-American, Christian-hating collectivists, insurrectionists, and treasonous politicians is rapidly transforming the United States into a nation of Democrat Party-approved outlaws. During President Obama's Democrat regime, abandonment of legal laws and Constitution violations were epidemic. Its jurisprudence integrity was implemented. Obama, Hillary Clinton, Lois Lerner of the IRS, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and National Security Advisor Susan Rice, and outlaw officials who support sanctuary enclaves for illegal immigrants would be indicted as criminals. However, as protected elites, they set themselves above the law. One of President Obama's most flagrant unlawful violation was his executive order called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, known as DACA, which is a backdoor scheme to grant illegal immigrant offsprings de facto amnesty. The dictionary defined one who settled on property without right or title of ownership as a squatter. Squatting is unlawful and a crime, and no matter the length of occupancy, a squatter cannot convey or transfer that which they don't own. Therefore, every DACA and development relief and education for alien minors, commonly called dreamers, if they are illegal, by definition are squatters. During Hurricane Irma, I saw a video of some people in Florida stealing and looting merchandise from a store. According to the law, their actions were unacceptable crimes, and they were outlaws, subject to adjudication. But how can justice be served if another crime, illegal immigration, is promoted as acceptable without adjudication? But poor illegal immigration apparatchiks in their zeal to legitimize and proselytize illegal immigrant squatters as future Democrat voters are destroying the United States as a nation of laws and equal justice. If a sovereign nation cannot deport or expel outlaws, then its borders will be open to lawlessness. If a sovereign nation cannot deport or expel illegal immigrants, such as DACA or Dreamers, then every incarcerated criminal under equal justice should be released. As the nation moves closer to the crossroads of civility or incivility, Americans must choose being a nation of laws or a nation of outlaws, where mayhem, beatings, murder, and violence is committed without fear of retributions. However, if deportations are too severe, then illegal immigrant squatters should be required to register their residency so the nation will know what, where, and who is here. I am Milt, Logically Speaking Uncensored, saying, think about it.
And that was Milt Harris, again, with another just great commentary. And but we want to get right back to the phones. Mike from New York, you are back on the air.
Oh, yes, thank you. And I couldn't agree more with that last commentary.
Milt is really great. But what I was asking you, was, about the Fast and Furious. See, the reason why I asked you is it's obvious that the Democrat Party and the FBI are working hand in hand on too many items. The thing about it is that for them to just outwardly hand over guns to known criminals and for what reason? The only reason is to make the guns more unfavorable in the eyes of the public, and at some point they can say, you know, we have got to get rid of these guns because look at all of the mayhem and all of the carnage that's being committed. Same thing with the schools. There is no reason why that school should have had the lax security, and a known identified problem is allowed to get into the school and do exactly what a lot of people had predicted that he would do. So that's the question. What is the problem with the FBI that they seem to be one in all with the Democrat Party?
That's a good question. Again, we know the higher echelons of the FBI had sided with the top, with the Obama administration.
Yes.
You had a fifth column in this country, which
Yes.
during wartime is treasonous.
Yes.
So those people should be, at the very least, incarcerated for treason.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no doubt about that. And again, as far as the security in the school, and again, going back to the FBI, like this weekend, yesterday, when the FBI announced this collusion, this supposed Russian collusion,
yeah.
they hadn't identified any American or the Trump administration.
No.
But one commentator, a radio commentator, Mike Savage, put forth the idea maybe they let that loose yesterday to try to, brush aside.
Yeah.
The fact that the FBI dropped the ball on this shooter who they had information on, they didn't follow up on, so they're trying to, put a smokescreen for people listening and then put out that information yesterday, to try to minimize the fact that they dropped the ball on this shooter.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, it's great that you get up early with me this morning and give us a call. Don't be a stranger.
It's great talking to you, and it's the first time I turned the radio on a Saturday morning. Normally I'm on it during the week, but this is a great talk show.
Well, stick with us, and you're going to hear some great stuff.
I will listen.
All right, thanks again. Okay, we're going to go to line number 2, and that is Arthur from Ann Arbor. Good morning, Arthur.
Good morning. The only problem I would have with the military taking over security would be you'd run into posse comitatus.
Yeah.
The better idea would be to find all these unemployed veterans and retired police officers, allow them to take over security for the school, and also you have a huge number of people in our state who the state of Michigan has said are more than competent at carrying a firearm. Allow those people that have those permits to carry the firearms into the school.
Well,
everywhere else, why not the school?
Well, here's reason why I say that is because the number, I would say I would like to have 10 security people, but it would be a training program that would go into a broader situation where you create a army or military paid training program specifically for security in the schools. And the posse comitatus law, we could get around that if we could get the laws changed to let the Homeland Security operate within the country, which is the Homeland Security is an offshoot of the CIA, is it? Is it not?
Well, yeah, but still, you'll have the teachers and the administrators and the staff.
But because
the firearm the permit, you'd already have the issue solved.
But see, here's the thing. No, it means one thing, that we show that there are people that are not wanting to solve the problem. The biggest problem we got here is not guns. The problem is protecting our children. And so what I say is that we want the integrity of the training to be somebody that we trust. And we trust the military to train those people to put those people into school. If we get people that are unemployed, we don't know what they've been doing for that time they've been unemployed and out of the workforce.
But several states, Utah and several other states, have specific training programs, which in most cases, organizations like the NRA, your local gun organization, your state gun organization, pay for the training for these teachers and administrators and staff to be trained to handle the same situation. We already trust these teachers and administrators with our kids 8 hours a day.
Well, here's the thing.
They have our kids. Why not allow them to be armed?
Okay.
Israel does.
Yeah, I agree. But here's the thing. If you go into any of the federal buildings downtown, they got armed guards in there. You're not going to get into that building, slip in there, and take advantage of some lacks in the net, some hole in the net, and allow somebody to get in there. What I'm saying is we need to start a new program, just like the Homeland Security. We need to start that kind of thing. But more than all, it will give us an idea of whether or not there are people in the Congress that need to be they need to be not paid attention to because of the fact that they are not serious about protecting our children. They are serious about what their agenda is, and the Democrats, their agenda is to get the guns and confiscate the guns. The Republican Party, I think that all that they want to do is to make sure that they can protect what little bit of area that they got, because the sympathy is always with the Democrats on this situation, because they're going to say things like, you don't care about our children. You don't care how many die. Well, the Democrats will say those kind of things every day. The Republicans have to defend that. But every time they come up with an idea to defend it, what are they told? You just want to protect the gun owners of the NRA. You want the money and all of that. That's not their primary desire in this particular instance. Their desire is to keep down the rhetoric and stop having people look upon them as not caring about the average person. That's what it is. So what they need to come up with an idea and put it to the Democrats and tell them, okay, we're here to protect these children. Now, why would you want to stop that? You got to this has to be a bipartisan situation. That's why they're buttering Trump up, talking about he needs to be like Nixon and go to China. You see what I'm saying? They're insidious with this, victimizing every situation instead of trying to solve a problem. Their problem is always looking to get votes. That's what their number one problem is.
Well, you can prove Feinstein wants to seize the guns. Because back when they passed the original assault weapons ban, Feinstein went on a news program and said, if I could have gotten 51 votes, Mr. and Miss America, turn them all in. So I mean, they blatantly have said their goal is to seize all the guns.
That's right. Exactly right. And the more carnage that happens, the more they are close to their goal. You see them all the time talking about, maybe this is the turning point. Maybe this is what, and the turning point is to be able to confiscate the guns. I want to get to the rest of the phone lines. Thanks for your call this morning, and don't be a stranger.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right, you're welcome. And we're going to go to line number 3, and Gary from Hazel Park. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, Phil. Good morning. Hey, everybody is running around wondering why we're in the position we're in, and this is quite literally the world the left made. The left devalued life. They devalued family. They devalued parenting. They devalued fatherhood, and they've allowed the media to run around and scare the kids with doom and gloom, with global warming and the end of the world. And then the media complex, which is not media, I'm sorry, the entertainment complex, which is the leftist, spend all their time organizing violent movies and violent video games and trash-talking white men. So it's driving our kids crazy because they see no future.
Well, and do you see a correlation between the Michigan State situation with the pedophile doctor, and the gun situation. The attempt by the Democrats to basically take my freedom to defend ourselves.
In a way, yeah, because the left has this destiny. What they want to do is they want to change our society in some twisted, perverted way.
Yeah,
and they've don't really care about pedophilia. Yeah, they've proven that they think that it's something that they can accept because it's diversity. You know,
no, they've already accepted it. They want to force us to accept it.
Yes, they do. They do, and they will penalize us if we don't. If we don't celebrate their perversion, we're the bad guy, and so we have to fight every fight that comes our way because our civilization is at stake. There's nothing less than our civilization at stake.
Well, see, the thing is that, in my estimation, we have to take each and every incident. When you talk about the Me Too situation, you see how the Democrat Party takes this stuff and twists it into two camps. Either you're with us or you're with them, and those are the racists. Those are the homophobes. Those are the people that hate women. And my goodness, you know, they have divided this country where you've got people that call the President of the United States every name in the book and then turn around and put it on the newspaper, Mr. President, you need to act. Well, what was all of this 45 nonsense that you've been putting in there? What is all of this calling this man a racist? Because, you know, you basically don't even know what the word means. You don't really know what racism is and how evil it is. But you want to assign those names to people and then turn around, and if a person says anything that you don't agree with, you're going to use that as a sign that says this man is the most evil person to ever step a foot in the White House. That's why you have the FBI. They've been penetrated, and they have been taken over by a cabal of people that are against traditional America, and that's why they missed this guy down in Florida. This man should have been in jail before.
Well, what about the Zendaya brothers, the Boston bombers?
Yeah,
I mean, they had those guys handed to them on a silver platter, and they just walked away from that.
Yes, too. Yeah, and I truly believe that whenever these guys see a threat to the deep state, what has become known as the deep state, you know, you got these people making decisions on as to what the American people made a decision on. That's not good enough for them. They want to change the whole situation and turn it into a Venezuela, basically.
And not to sound cold-hearted, and I know I'm going to, the body count is irrelevant. What's relevant is that we retain our right to bear arms, because those are what keeps us safe from our own government. That's the whole point of the thing, so that we can live free and not be feared of our own government. It's got nothing to do with hunting. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's so that tyranny does not take over the country.
Well, basically what you're saying is you love your country, but you fear the government. And that's what they want. That's what they want to accomplish. And the fear of the government being able to do what they want to do it should make everybody in this country fearful of the fact that we are very close to losing those liberties.
Yeah, one last thing, Phil. And, you know, these same people that are squawking about the president doing something.
Yeah.
The minute he does something unilaterally, they'll call him a dictator.
Yes.
You know, the president of the United States doesn't have the authority or the power to just do something.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
But what they're trying to bait him into doing is something that I hope he doesn't even pay any attention to, because, you know, I think that if we don't get through these 8 years with this man, this country is gone. I mean, I said it's been gone for years. But Anyway, we want to thank you for your call this morning. Thanks for getting up with me. And don't be a stranger. Keep calling.
You bet. See you, Phil.
All right, we're going to go to line number one. That's Elizabeth from Beverly Hills. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, gentlemen. And I don't know whether you announced it, but I can't wait to see you on April 27th. All of the Patriots will be gathered.
Yes.
To hope.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'll definitely.
I know. And I wanted to say one of the things that's happening is our country has become secular. You know, we've taken God out of our school system, and so there's no accountability, and that's not the only thing. Gary from Hazel Park is one of my Patriot friends.
Yes.
We're out there trying to get Patrick Colbeck to be our next governor.
Yes.
Because he's going to make sure that we don't lose God in our schools.
Well, I'm four square behind you. Patrick Colbeck is the man that is going to do the real hard work to bring this state up to where it should have been over the last 20 years. This man is, I can't tell you how much I think he's the man for the job, capable and so understanding of the issues.
Right. He's a brilliant engineer.
Yes, he is.
He's probably one of the most godly people I've ever encountered in my life, and I'm out there 3 or 4 or 5 nights a week.
Yes.
Trying to get him elected. So people need.
Let me know if there's anything that we can do here, and in terms of announcements and anything. Just send them over. We'll get them on the air. I want to get to our last call.
Good. You.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. We're going to go to line number 2, and that is JB from Ann Arbor. Go ahead. Hello? Well, anyway, I just wanted to say that we got about a couple of minutes to go here before the end of the show. If I keep hearing something, okay. Anyway, the Black History Month is just about going to be over the next week. Where I'll get to the Black History situation is. Basically, it is a couple of examples of why it's so important that we maintain of the ability to protect ourselves, because we see that there has been an infiltration into the intelligence agencies of America, and it's not good. It's not going to be good for America to have intelligence agencies where you have a guy like Chuck Schumer telling people that the intelligence agencies in this country can give you trouble 7 ways from Sunday. See, I made this statement before that there was a time and there was a rash of killings in this country, and the intelligence agencies did not come out on the good side of those issues. So we want to make sure that this FBI is not compromised in the way that it's been. And the only way we can do that is sunshine. We need to make them give all of the information out and stop beating around the bush and trying to make it out like somebody's trying to cover something up. Thanks again, folks, and we will see you next week. The Abolitionist Roundtable invites the WAAM TALK1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.